Hey, what's up guys? It's the Gaming here, and welcome to a brand new video where I finally talk again. So this is going to be an impromptu style video because I didn't write a script or anything. These are things that just kind of popped into my head recently as I watched the movie. Things that I've sort of witnessed for the first time and thought of, and since I'm not seeing this floating around online or anything, I decided to share my thoughts on this since I feel like they're worthy enough to make a video on. So I'm going to talk about a couple things. I might make more videos because, like I said, these are impromptu. I didn't really think about it. They're just kind of on a whim. I just wanted to make them real quick. So, yeah, hopefully it's not too long, and I hope you don't mind, but these are just my thoughts. So, first off, a little short segment is going to be about Broly. Now, I know Broly didn't make a huge appearance in Dragon Ball Super Superhero, and he didn't do much, but he was still there, and for some reason, I just thought of this now. So, we all know that Broly has his unique form, which is Legendary Super Saiyan, like this picture here. But, um, and I know that it was never stated that Broly has access to God Ki or anything. And I find that odd because Broly, I mean, I know it's a very legendary forms, and I mean, hence the name Legendary Super Saiyan, which comes with an immense amount of power and strength that can't really be calculated by any means, really. um, which makes the form a just a complete wild, loose can of worms that kind of breaks certain power scalings, but I'm not going to get into that. So, and I know that they, according to the lore of Dragon Ball, Saiyans are born with that kind of power every 100 so years. And since Broly is the last surviving Saiyan to have that gift, it's also unique to him. And we've also noticed that it's not a new concept, but we noticed that Dragon Ball characters, like certain Dragon Ball characters like Broly and even Gohan, even though they're Saiyans to any type of degree, they have their unique moments and forms that also coincide with well-known, actual, established, really strong forms such as Ultra Instinct and even Ultra Ego. Um, which also adds a sort of individuality to the character while also making them at least close as strong as those type of godly states, without making them too, I guess, generic in terms of form and visual aesthetics for the forms to be in that potential. So with Broly's case, his unique form that can even rival that of the gods is Legendary Super Saiyan. But my theory goes is, even though it was sort of hinted at the fact that he does not have access to God Ki, what if I were to say that's not entirely true? I feel like Broly on his own, from base to Super Saiyan, that is true. But I feel like whenever he taps into Legendary Super Saiyan, maybe he has a quick burst of God Ki flowing through him, at least when the form is activated. Because we've seen that Broly was able to go toe-to-toe just fine until Gogeta finally gave him the upper hand when he turned Super Saiyan Blue. Now, even though Gogeta Blue was kind of giving him quite a bit of a beating at the end, um, Broly wasn't even with that. Broly wasn't really that beat up. Um, sure, he basically Gogeta beat him to submission, of course, but in terms of physical damage, Broly wasn't that bad. We saw a few like marks on his body here and there, but it wasn't anything extreme. He was still able to move, um, and he didn't lose any limbs or anything. So, and he wasn't even bleeding at all. So Broly was able to at least somewhat sustain some of the damage that Gogeta gave him, even though Gogeta really wasn't holding back at the end. So that goes to show that even though Broly wasn't able to beat Gogeta Blue, he was at least able to sustain some damage to Gogeta Blue's attacks without really getting heavily injured physically, which speaks volumes, if you ask me. And I came up with this theory with the help of family that when you mix two colors, yellow and blue, I believe you get green. And we know that blue in the Dragon Ball universe is for Super Saiyan Blue, which has access to God Ki. So what if Legendary Super Saiyan is at least partly some type of godly form? Now, I don't know if that would merit anything in the story or if they would go in that route at all in the story, but I just feel like it's at least a nice food for thought for Broly in his iconic legendary Super Saiyan form. So, yeah, that's what I think. Now, moving on with Cellmax. This is the best picture I can get for Cellmax. So, with Cellmax, I have a really tiny theory for him, which is if you haven't seen the movie yet, um, please go watch it. It's very good. Um, when he first appears from the underground laboratory, he does a sort of angry, shouting energy attack. That the blast radius grows and grows on the field, and Gamma 1 and 2 had to go save Dr. Hedo from the blast, which they technically were successful in. Um, and that's kind of what started the whole, fight with Cell Max. But what I want to get into with Cell Max in particular is that when he does that energy attack that I'm referring to, it's the color for it is red and black. But the weird thing for me is that every instance after that is just purple energy. Now, the reason why I think that's weird is because if you've played Dragon Ball FighterZ, you know of a unique character in there called Android 21. And if you remember, Android 21's energy style for her attack and even aura when she's boosting her ki is red and black. And we've never actually technically seen that type of energy in all of Dragon Ball, not even in Heroes actually, which is interesting. Only 21 really had that type of energy. Now, like many things in Dragon Ball, it's not really explained why her energy looks like that, but the fact that it looks like that and Cell Max shared that brief moment at the beginning of energy style is kind of odd to me. And the reason why I think it's odd is, like I said, one, every other instance we see him use energy style attacks, they're purple, so it's nothing too weird there. But it's only at the beginning that we see that type of attack. And it was sort of kind of like an awakening type of attack, not necessarily a deliberate type of attack like all the other instances we see Cellmax perform in the movie. So, and the other thing that's kind of strange is that 21, Android 21, has been made officially canon into the story. So, could Cell, using that brief moment of attack that really closely resembles that of 21's energy style, could that mean that they're referencing or sort of hinting story-wise that 21 is going to emerge as an android in the future, as the sort of antagonist villain in the story in Dragon Ball? I'd like to think so because, like some characters in the Dragon Ball universe, 21 has huge potential story-wise, and from what we've learned in Superhero, they aren't totally willing to get rid of the Red Ribbon Army into the story just yet. They are willing to still use them, even though the Red Ribbon Army has been, even stated that Goku destroyed them, and then there was a retcon with Dr. Gero, and now here's another retcon with Magenta and Carmine and Dr. Hedo. So to bring back the Red Ribbon Army and all that to its full more glory. So with that in mind, we know that Toriyama and the writers definitely aren't totally, skeptical to using Red Ribbon Army longer if they really felt like it. So with that in mind, we know that maybe we can theorize that maybe they are willing to use 21 as some sort of antagonist or character in the future instead of just briefly mentioning her, making her canon into the story. And like I said, since she's canon now, who knows? It's definitely possible. And sometimes writers do like to sort of hint at what's coming for the future since anime movies can only be so long and you can only put so much into a single movie. So, as a way to sort of hint at the future, but in a very obscure and subtle matter, then that would be, I guess, what I just mentioned with Cellmax, the energy blast, which is red and black. And the only other character that really possesses that is Android 21. So I find that, and they're both androids, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities. And like I said, 21 does have potential to be utilized in the story in some way, shape, or form. So that's another food for thought, and I thought it was interesting.